get onto the game.
Loaded.
Load in. So, put the sound up because there's no music.
So, should we synchronize the timestamp in 5 seconds?
Okay then. So you press when it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're ready, start. So 3.
No, I'm still loading, by the way.
Okay, so loading. Lol. Okay.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Lol. Excited. Too excited.
So, paused on... I'll let you know when I'm paused on 5 seconds.
Okay then.
God, I can't wait to have a new computer.
Oh gosh, seriously, I used to play on a really. I think my old computer was 6 years old, and Dawn of War 2 just literally spat on it. Literally, my frames per second were like really bad. I couldn't play it. I can't believe I even managed to do anything. Iophorus.
Paused at 5 seconds.
Pause at 5 seconds. Okay,
Yeah,
so
pause at 5.
is that 12:12?
Yeah, 12.
Okay, cool. So 3, 2,
So
1. When you're ready, 3.
Are we just going to just analyze this replay?
Analyze the replay, kind of give tips to what he's played, because Kvek is a mid-level player, and I don't know about
I know
this.
Quebec.
So
I was wondering more about like, should we do it more for Quebec's sake, or should we talk about both sides?
Both sides, definitely for both sides. Kvek hasn't actually asked me to do this. I'm going to do this without his permission, so sorry, bro. But
he just deserves it.
So right, okay. So when you're ready, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, play. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Kvek's going to be playing as the Ravener Alpha, wrong side. And he's going to drop a tunnel. So what can you kind of tell us about the Ravener Alpha, Codex?
Well, Raven Alpha is a hero that, like, he's very good utility hero. He can like do a variety of different jobs if equipped in the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing to consider is that he is quite energy intensive with his tunneling and like burrow, etc. So, like, it's punishing if you end up putting like poor tunnels down that get destroyed immediately, or he gets harassed while he's putting the tunnels down. It's just not good. Like, you want to get positioning. You want to get make a plan about where you're going to be putting down these tunnels so that they're going to be out of the way and effort for your opponent to root them out rather than just being a liability. Because now they drop quite a lot of experience in red when they die these tunnels. So
yeah. So then they can be crushed, can't they, by assault marine drops? How can players of the races kind of deal with tunnels? How can it be countered? I know they provide so much mobility and etc.
Yeah, they have the same advantage as weapons in that you can have a sizable force popping out of them at a single time. But this is offset by the fact, if, for example, if your opponent is expanding the map and he's come out of a tunnel and is expanding onto the map and capping 50 points, that is a perfect opportunity to start attacking the tunnel because you know that your opponent's army is going to be popping out of it in short order, right? They're out capping the map. So the main thing is, it's nice to have things that destroy tunnels at the same time as disruptor. For example, assault marine jump, rapid jump. They're really nice because if he hops out the tunnel and you jump on them, then not only are they disrupted, but you kill off the tunnel at the same time, which gets rid of their easy retreat path.
Okay.
So it creates a favorable situation for you to then engage from then on. It has the same sort of effect as Citadel of the Rift. You just put them in a bad spot, take away their escape route, and pummel them.
Yeah, exactly. Because they really depend on that tunnel, especially to, like you said, an easy retreat route. So, what kind of builds would you suggest that Kill should do against what Kvek's currently doing? He's got double Termagon just to deal with obviously the heretics and his hero.
The first thing I would say is, right now, Saint's skill has definitely not got enough squads. He's only got one CSM and a tick. The heretic hasn't got a sparring champion, but he's trying to compensate for his lack of squad count by getting the combi flamer, which is okay. Pretty good against hits, but it will not really pay off once the synapse is reducing the incoming damage, right?
Yeah.
So if I was exec here, I would focus on the fact that, forget even the Homagons, Homagons here could apply a bit of pressure to the Shin farm, you might as well, right? But my general fight strategy, my general fight plan from here would be focusing down the heretics, especially before they're getting aspiring champions as they are now. Like, really putting some pain on them and using Termagants and Ravener Alpha, like, ranged attacks to take them out. And once the heretics are gone, then you send in your Homagons and your warriors and melee, and there's not much you can do.
Yeah. Curtis, can I ask you to pause just for a second? Okay.
Pause.
Alright, cool. Just so I think I'm getting complaints like people can't hear you. It's probably because this game is probably so loud. Yeah, yeah, just as someone sends it. Let me just lower the speech, that sound effect. So we'll just lower the game just by a bit. Okay. Curtis, can you say something?
Hello?
Hello? So, let me see if anyone can see us a bit better.
I'll quickly cover again what I was saying then. Like, right now, with Chaos in general, like, T1, like, power-free units, like, they're completely, like, not self-sufficient insofar that, like, they only do one specific role particularly well. Like, heretics are good at melee, Chaos Space Marines are good at range, like, and there's no point sending the Hormigons in right at the beginning when all they have to attack are heretics, Chaos Lord, and CSM, because what happens is they get ganked by the heretics. So what I would do is use the Termagants and the Ravener Alpha as a front line, take out the heretics, slow the Chaos Lord, and then afterwards you can send the Hormigons in after the CSM, and the CSM just cease to do any DPS against Hormigons.
Alright. Okay, excellent. Alright, so what are you paused on? I'm on 347, I'm probably paused a bit late.
You start and then count to 3 and I'll continue.
Okay. Alright. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so I think that might be a bit better. So you see kill the weak there. It's Chaos Lord's AoE ability that allows him to drain life from enemies around him, particularly strong against melee forces, as it gives him a clear retreat route, doesn't it?
In general, the way I would try to use it is like try to counter it. Sorry, is like attack the Chaos Lord with a commander or something like that. That's something that can do reliable damage, and if it gets knocked back by Kill the Weak, it's not a very big deal because all you'll heal is a small amount based on one model, right?
Right.
And then you maneuver your strong melee in his retreat paths. So he tries to, like, he tries to get the Kill the Weak off. You charge him with your Banshees, say, and then you kite them off, and then keep baiting. So you try to get Kill the Weak off in a good situation where he won't actually trigger it off. Right. I mean, the other commander attacking is quite important because if you're just baiting and kiting with the Banshees the whole time, you're not going to actually be able to take down the Chaos Lord in time.
Okay. So, what do you... can you pause for a sec at 10? So, here we go. I'm at 12. Now, there's been quite a bit of talk about hive nodes. This is obviously the Ravener's unique ability. Can you tell us, do you know anything about this? I don't really know much about hive nodes myself, but...
So, it's basically just a building that Ravener Alpha can build, and it has an activated ability and regenerating health. And the main thing it does is it reduces incoming damage in an area. So it's a bit like its main use is to make Nid forces more effective in an area, right?
Okay.
And I mean, I can see like already here at this moment in time, he's got a tunnel, 2 hive nodes, and a superior army size. I mean, forget the fact that this Chaos Lord has lost his power node. Like, even if he had his power node in full gens, he would be in big trouble here.
Yeah.
The main thing, though, is this all goes on from the fact that the Chaos Lord only bought 1 Chaos Space Marine and then a Noise Marine when he could.
Yeah.
And this whole time, I mean, like, he's got a massive rec flow right now, and it's not really going to do much good to buy a CSM here, because that Barb Strangler and these hive nodes are going to make him completely useless, really. So it's a knock-on effect. He would have gotten more map control, more control over the Nid forces by getting a second Heretic squad out, or even skipping power and getting a second CSM squad out. Like, it's better than nothing. Kvek got so many more resources, so much more map control, like these well-placed tunnels, like especially the one in the top right is a very well-placed tunnel considering the army compositions. Like, you know, Kvek's got a very strong advantage that came from before that allowed him to bunker down with hive nodes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can see why there is a lot of talk about hive nodes, but at the same time, it's like, you know, if your opponent had put down a Tech Marine like relay,
oh my goodness, yeah,
you know, like how OP would that feel? You know, especially if he had like one more squad than you, like a higher power expenditure than you, like you would find that pretty hard to break down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to do with
the race being overpowered or ability being overpowered.
Well,
it's just a circumstance.
It might be, but it's like what I want to really highlight is that Kvek's really gone from strength to strength in this game, whereas like this ain't skill has been paying for up until we're only 5 minutes in, and he's lost his gen farm, and not just that, like he gave Kvek the space to build 2 hive nodes right next to it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you cannot give your opponent that much of a free hand to, like, you might as well have like let him build T2 and not pressure him, right?
Basically,
anyway.
give him an extra unit and more durability. Can you talk about kind of like, I'm not too sure. I mean, I played against Kvek actually earlier when he did this. I was able to deal with it just because I had the Assault Marines jumping on the tunnels, and then obviously the staying power of the Force Commander's shield, and probably look at Space Marines in the next game or something. What can you kind of tell me about the Hive Node themselves? What kind of abilities or kind of buffs do they give to Tyranid army?
Well, the most important thing is the incoming damage rate, like range damage reduction, like, but that also applies to suppression, I believe. So
okay,
like it's harder to suppress them and it's harder to kill them. So, but it is an activated ability and it has a cooldown. So unless, I mean, the whole point is that the reason they're so strong is that it's in such an advanced position of strength.
Right.
If you put the Hive Node at the middle VP, say, right, and a big engagement ensues, and like you attack and he activates Hive Node, you can just kite out of that, right? You don't want to overcommit into a situation where like this Hive Node's gonna make a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like this is part of the game, right? It's like dealing with Battlecry. When you see Battlecry go off, you should be thinking, can I kite and avoid this and like turn on it once it's gone? If you can, it's generally better to do that. Same with Hive Nodes. If you don't have to take it on in the face, it's better not to.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for that, Codex. So we're going to push up now. So in fact, actually, before we do that, what could you say in this situation? Do you think Skill has no chance of coming back, or what do you think he can kind of do? Would he be able to spam a unit, or Heretics, would they be kind of useful in this situation?
I mean, in the end, like, grenade launchers would be okay here, but the main thing is he hasn't got any power, right? And what he kind of needs is everything: map control, unit count, like. So I reckon probably his best shot right now is something like pretty.
So basically, Kvek would have to make a few mistakes, essentially.
Of course. Like, in theory, though, like, it doesn't take much of an advantage. Like, it takes the slightest advantages, and given perfect play from both sides, the person with the early game advantage should win every game.
Right.
But it doesn't work out that way because we're human. We make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's assuming, of course, that game is completely balanced, right? And there aren't any cheap ways to
to kind of deal with something.
Exactly. But I think the main, because of like this ain't skills, kind of like resource balance and whatnot, I would probably recommend his only shot being something like 2 heretics, because right now, like, if you look at what Kvek has got, he's got 4 ranged units, including his commander. That makes Noise Marines really effective. Like, it's a good choice, but it is really easy to suppress them with Barb Strangler, time up a melee with either the commander or the Hormagaunts, But if you suddenly like have like 3 heretics on the field and you're just charging in and you draw out 2 crippling poisons and you tie up the Barb Strangler Warrior Brood, suddenly your Noise Marines have the freedom to start doing stuff, right? They can take out the Hive Nodes because they're buildings, and, well, Noise Marines do well against buildings. And then afterwards, they can just keep silencing the warriors, the Termagants, and, he's got play. He's got play, but 2 heretics is somewhere down the line, right?
Yeah.
He's got to start building them now to even have a shot, and by then Kvek's going to be tier 2 pretty speedily, so at least Kvek hasn't put down the 3rd gen on his natural, but still.
Okay. So I kind of suggest in this situation, he'd probably have to pull back, and he'd probably in fact maybe going for a counter rush of his generators farm. There's no way he can defend
in
this.
this current situation next to his gen farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's likely gonna lose the Chaos Lord if he doesn't retreat immediately. Like, Immolate is great. Like, don't underestimate Immolate at all. But it's not really a gen. It's not really a building bashing ability. It's an anti-infantry ability first and foremost. He cannot be wasting it against buildings. He needs it against the troops, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it combos so well with like Doom Blast and like Noise Marine,
grenade
General Fire,
and that kind of stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly, and you can't be wasting it on buildings. And I think it kind of started with that. I think earlier on he might have used that Immolate on a tunnel, and I was thinking, what?
Yeah. Okay. Then.
Anyway,
All right,
should we just continue with this and see where this goes?
Yeah. So we're gonna see how Skilled kind of deals with the situation and how Kvek kind of pushes on to kind of. I'm not sure if he wins the match, but we're about to find out and see. So.
Ready to unpause?
What are you on? I'm on 12, 512. What are you on?
512.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, unpause. So there's a kill a week from the Chaos Lords, but he's standing still. He's in one position. That's not really going to help. There's the cacophony from the Noise Marines, but again, his Chaos Lord isn't pressuring the right units. He should really be trying to get in the midst of these Termagants. And then
I've got no problem with him trying to force off the Homagons, because in the end, like, his Noise Marines are the key unit, right? But you can just see from this composition, right, that a Noise Marine, a Chaos Lord, a CSM isn't going to take on a Warrior, 2 Termagant, a Ravenant Alpha, and a Homagon, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just, he shouldn't even be saying, like, that those things don't die. Like, those Noise Marines can't do anything against that big a blob. You need a big army, right? I mean... Yeah.
You need the forces.
Exactly. I mean, this is something that I think that people need to do more often. Is they need to evaluate before they take fights. They need to think who's got the advantage and who doesn't. Right?
How am I going to approach this?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with going into like an unfavorable fight as long as you know that it's an unfavorable fight, because it informs your decisions accordingly. It informs you how early do I need to retreat. Or like, am I buying time for something else on this, like on the other side of the map, right? Because one of the classic examples where you'll take an unfavorable fight is when you're ninja bashing, because by nature you've sent part of your force to gem bash the enemy, right? And during this time you're a bit more vulnerable. Okay, I mean this is really desperate play from the Chaos to put this exposed gen farm here. Like, I mean, that's all he's got. That's all he's got, but. I mean, Kvek, then now he's spotted it. That all he's gonna do is like. I mean, if I were him, I would just deny it.
Yeah, deny it.
I wouldn't even like steal it. I would just destroy it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Right.
That's resources
right now,
that he's
like,
wasted, and
exactly
resources that Kvek just doesn't need at the moment. I mean, he's really taking the top farm, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, that is a very good reason and like very good reasoning. But the real reason, in my opinion, that you should do this is that. When you have like these sort of things spread over the map, for you they become liabilities. You don't need 3 gen farms, right? Like each one that you have to defend, you have to send troops, you have to maneuver, and like it's a simpler game if you don't have these liabilities to take care of.
Right.
If you understand what I mean, right? Like,
yeah, more things to babysit.
Exactly. Whereas like if he had just like destroyed that, and he could have just kept like one hive node here to just scout it out, so that he would know if the Chaos Lord had the same idea to like build a farm down here. He could just sweep down and just go bam, you're dead. You know?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that Chaos Lord's so
that
dead.
Chaos Lord's retreating. And there's Catalyst, the global ability from the Ravenar, allowing them, you can see them, they're kind of glowing, but they're taking damage.
A little bit unnecessary, but
Yeah,
I
didn't really
guess he
need it.
wants to be sure.
Well, better sure than make a mistake, and he's taking it for himself. But I believe that, I think Kevette probably believes he's in a really good position. That's probably why he is actually taking it for himself. I mean, he knows that he's already taken out one of the 3 squads that Skill actually had. The Noise
Yeah, I
Marines being
just
the
want
main
to point
thing.
out that
Yeah, exactly.
Hormigaunt damage on retreat is so powerful, and Catalyst Hormigaunt on retreat is one of the scariest things. I mean, okay, what, Josh, what do you think of this Raptor pickup? I mean, apart from the fact that it's T1 versus T2, like, what is your opinion of it?
Well, he probably does. I'm not even sure if he knows at the moment that obviously Kevett's tier 2. He should suspect it. Despite the fact that he's taken his own generator farm and the one in the corner.
That sounds probably legally close.
It needs to. Zonfa probably needs
okay.
to fall back a bit after it. I think the
Quick
Raptor.
evaluation.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, quick evaluation though. This is not a good fight for Chaos. Again, like the capillary tile is down as well, so like he's just not evaluating. He just feels that he needs to push in, and you know it's just horrible. But anyway, yeah, Raptor choice evaluation. What do you think?
I think that should have been one of the first things he should have got instead of the Noise Marines, just to negate these Termagants. That probably would have been a better choice. Right now, probably not the best choice, just because he hasn't got the resources. He can't afford to basically spend this much. He's got loads of wreck, and he hasn't got an army. So why not spend it on maybe a second tactical marine squad, or heretics, something that he knows basically is going to scare Kevett's ranged army off.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out is, yeah, that acid splatter on Raven Alpha is doing work, but one thing I really wanted to point out is, if this Saint Skill wanted to do all this like crazy stuff, he really should have used the Chaos Lord instead of smacking this Hive node, doing absolutely no damage.
Exactly.
He would have been far better served walking over and destroying these. Oh, finally he uses his Immolate on these Termagants.
Are they taking no damage?
Yeah, pretty much. It's double Hive node.
Right.
They stack.
Oh, they do stack. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, that acid splatter is doing work. I mean, if that Ravener Alpha got like strength and sinew for the speed boost, it would just be the scariest thing.
That's just
But going back to the Raptor choice, like Raptors, I mean, if you look at the key differences between Raptors and Assault Marines, which are the units that they're based off, obviously.
Yeah.
If you notice, Raptors do slightly more damage, have less of a disruptive jump, and have like tactical marine hit points, effectively.
Yeah,
So
they do, exactly.
they're vulnerable. They're more vulnerable in melee. I mean, they really are not like, they're not really the tanks of a fight, and that's why like Raptors require the tick support. Like, do you remember things that, you know, that they always used to say that everything that Chaos has synergizes with heretics?
Yeah.
And that is completely true of Raptors as well. Like, Raptors with melee heretics side by side with them